Hello, and welcome to Too Much Time on Our Hands. You join the magnificent Menage a Trois this evening.
Ew.
Ooh. Yes, super, super sexy. Everyone wave, because I'm sure that's all cheers, slanger, whatever. That's what everyone is here for. And obviously, anyone listening can't actually see us wave, but we are
The energy
waving.
levels are through the fucking roof right now, aren't they?
Do you know what? I have no excuse. We had a first time in a long time we had a good night's sleep. It was fabulous. They didn't
Let's,
wake up
keep, let's
until
keep it going.
7:30.
Keep it going.
Congratulations.
Energy.
So I
Start.
have loads of energy. Russ, how are you?
Yeah, not bad. Good, thank you. All things considering.
Very smart looking beard at the moment. You're looking very trim.
Yeah, I'm going a bit beardier at the moment because I've got mainly because I've got a nice little set of beard oils that I want to sort of work my way through.
Smart.
Hmm.
Do you like I've got into the beard oils as well now. It's very nice. Danielson, how are you?
Hi, sorry, I didn't see you there. I was too busy reading a fabulous little tome called the Codex Astra Militarum. Sly Marbo, you card.
Well, as you can see, we have no Tom tonight.
Yeah,
And
fuck him. We get to talk about Warhammer when he's not
Yeah.
here.
yeah, essentially, Tom couldn't make it, and we came up with the idea of let's fall back on Warhammer. Obviously, Russ and I have, we've given it up a long time ago. Obviously, we're never going to play it again.
Yeah, I mean, not to like make light of anyone struggling with any form of addiction, but I am about 10 years clean now when it comes to
Yeah.
to Games Workshop.
There was an actual article in a newspaper, because obviously it's been called Plastic Crack for a while, but there was an actual article in a newspaper that said that had the headline, the plastic heroin problem for the middle class nerd, which made me laugh a lot. So
So if anything's going to put me off getting back into it, it's stuff like that.
yes, well,
So tonight, Dan is going to try and persuade. I mean, it's not really going to be that.
I'm done. I just need to sit here with my arms folded. Okay, it's already happening. The wheels are in motion. I'm going down, and I'm dragging all of you with me.
So Dan is going to try and persuade Russ and I tonight. Well, Dan, you explain what you're going to do tonight. I'll throw it over to you. It was your idea.
So,
Or was it Russ's idea?
recently,
Russ, it was your idea, actually.
it's actually Russ's idea. Yeah, Russ, you
You explain what
Well,
you want us.
I mean, I'm like I say, yeah, I'm sort of broadly clean of Games Workshop now. I dip into the odd Black Library novel, which I avoided for a really long time.
And
But I feel like
if you
It's like
get into
they're,
Black Library,
they're kind of like that's like the methadone version. You know, you don't have to actually buy anything, but it sort of just keeps you
the
topped
ni-
up enough.
It's the nicotine patch.
Yeah, it's the nicotine patch of Games Workshop. You don't have to go in the shop. You don't have to go into that sort of smelly little hovel. You,
wow.
I know.
Wow, that's
Look,
mean.
I haven't been there since the 90s when I was going there and it was smelly. It was, admit it.
It's a completely different place now.
Yeah. Got women in it and everything.
We'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, okay. So carry on. I keep interrupting.
So
sorry.
kind of, and then just sort of, factors have led to it not really being part of my life anymore. So, Games Workshop took pretty much every penny I made from my paper round, and I didn't want that to extend into something that would feature on a PAYE payslip as well. So, ridiculous amount of my disposable income as a 13/14-year-old went into directly into James Workshop's pockets.
James Workshop.
That's what the guy in charge is called, right?
James Workshop.
It's named after him.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
That's why I called it that.
Rimmer.
And then also, it's just stuff like, you've got far more... Teenagers think they're busy, but they're really not, because they've got time to do stuff like Games Workshop or get really into certain games or whatever. But you do have less time as you get older, less space. I don't feel like my wife would quite appreciate having dedicated display cabinets and walls and things festooned with little miniatures. And just, it's mainly the resentment about the paper round money, to be honest, more than anything.
You exchanged that paper round money, though, for hours and hours of happiness.
This is true. Mainly in the form of little lead orcs. For
when we were allowed lead.
Old school Warhammer. Proper Warhammer, back when it was just called Warhammer. None of this Age of Sigmar nonsense.
It's, I exchanged it for lots of stuck fingers. Like my fingers and like that, like large crustings of super glue.
I remember someone
a lot of them were quite dreadful. The old they weren't. The sculpts were gorgeous, but they were all. So the way they used to make them was somebody would physically make the thing. They would sculpt it out of clay or presumably clay or something like that at like 3 or 4 times the size of a mini, and then that would get cast and shrunk down and turned into a mold. Obviously now it's all CNC and 3D printing, and they are still sculpted by artists, but they're sculpted on a computer rather than out of physical clay for the most part, which means you can get far more detail and they can cram those little sprues with all sorts of things. But those old. I
fucking love a good sprue.
There was something about those. Also, like one of the first things I got was the Wyvern for the orcs, and like its wings will not stay on.
So the wings
super glue
were
a lead wing.
Plastic. I thought the wings were plastic, weren't they?
I think so. The dragons, I think, had plastic wings, but my orc Wyvern had lead wings,
like the original eagles, and
couldn't support their own weight. Because it wasn't lead, was it? It was like some sort of alloy.
Well, originally it was lead, wasn't it? And then they went to
that was
what they called white metal.
That was back in the 70s or whatever. No, it was some sort of tin alloy, I think.
I remember they changed from lead to white metal.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to sell off all the lead because they realized, shit.
At some point, actually drooped under their own weight. And just like gluing, the only way to get it to stay on there would have been to drill it and pin it.
So I remember I bought a Demon Prince model, and it was, the only way you could get the arms to stay on this lead model. It was metal at that point.
Well,
the pinning as well.
When you got the old paint manuals, they always recommended having a little pin vise and stuff, so that you could pin your. I mean, I've probably.
Are you about to pull out your pin vise?
I've got one somewhere around it.
But that was always meant to be the way to do it. But even Terminator arms wouldn't always. I've got.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
The worst thing that would happen is if Terminator arms broke off with the little pokey out bit on them, because then you're fucked. Because that's the
like the little
little nubbin.
So all that big into proper old school Warhammer, Necromunda, little bit of 40k, and a little bit of Lord of the Rings.
We played so much Necromunda.
We played a lot of Necromunda.
Necromunda was.
Necromunda Warhammer are my main. So with you guys, it was Necromunda, and with sort of, I think I started in primary school playing Warhammer for the first time. But so I haven't really played since like early 2000s. Got rid of all my guys, and I was that I think that's about as clean as you can get. And then Daniel pops up talking about this new way of doing 40k. It's not even 40k in 40 minutes. It's like sleek, and you only need like 3 dudes. First one's always free, isn't it, Dan?
It's definitely 100% a gateway drug.
Yeah.
So Dan will know what I'm talking about, because I've played an awful lot with Dan. Thanks. His exact words. I'm starting to feel like I'm helping to enable Dan's addiction. So Dan, Dark Horse Dan on the stream. It's a kill team. It's been going a couple of years. Well, it's been going longer than that, but this iteration of Kill Team's been going.
So I remember like pre-Octarius Kill Team, and it was basically it was just 40k, but with less guys.
Yeah. And you could take like characters and stuff.
And it was hideously unbalanced, and basically people thought it didn't really work.
And
then after the Octarius box set, it actually sort of became its own proper thing with its own rules.
It's really good as well. Let's start there. The fact that it is. This version of Kill Team is excellent, and we're going to get on something else that might prove that it's definitely a gateway drug a bit later on. But Yeah, so Kill Team is essentially 40k. You get 10 models mostly, depending on which faction you choose. You're probably going to need a rule book. You'll probably need some scenery, and you'll probably need some range rulers. Although you don't really need the range ruler because it does everything in shapes.
Yeah,
but each shape represents a couple of inches.
From what I've looked at, this is one of the major stumbling blocks.
It's fine. It's genuinely.
But just say a number of inches instead of 3 circles and a hexagon.
I promise you, within minutes of playing Kill Team, you are understanding. You're just in the zone with the shapes and stuff.
You're in the kill zone.
You're in the kill zone, yeah. Which is what the area
the aim is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So it's on a much smaller board as well, so you can literally just play it on a kitchen table. It's
that's good.
You don't need too much scenery. You need, I'd say, a squad of like 10. All the rules are online if you look for them, so you don't really need books, but it is nice to have the books at the same time.
Always nice to have the book.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, better, isn't it? Better. And
it's part of the thing. Actually, I remember starting in primary school with Wood Elves, I think, but then actually Heroes Quest was my gateway.
I had Hero Quest. Everyone had
Hero Quest, right? Was brilliant.
Broadsword.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember. Like, I was playing Hero Quest with my primary school friends, and then someone was like, "Guys, did you know there's like a version of this where it's a whole army?" It blew our tiny little minds.
I actually started in fantasy with Chaos, and I got, when they brought out, when it was about 11, 12, they brought out the new Chaos rulebook, and it's like came in a beautiful box and everything. Still got the box. It's so fantastic. Loved it to bits. And but yeah, Dan is basically the reason why I, like you, Russ, was like dipping in and playing 40. Actually, with Dan it was 40k, but and Necromunda, and then we also did Inquisitor, and then we also might have dabbled with Battlefleet Gothic. I actually really enjoyed Inquisitor. That was really cool. That was actually
I never did that one.
That was fantastic.
I only did it a couple of times. Inquisitor was fun. It was somewhere between D&D and 40k, basically. Like, and by whereas like Warhammer 40k role playing is closer to D&D. This is like slap bang down the middle, where you have models, you have a board, but it is an RPG essentially. And they tried to coax you to buy models that were double the size. So like so you can get these beautifully sculpted models of like that would like twice as much and twice the size. You would of course then have to make entirely new scenery as well. So I remember playing it with
any of the other games.
I mean, everything's scaled down, so like you could still play the game with the standard models basically. Really good fun though, but like I don't know. At some point, like I've got to a point where it's like I'd rather, if I'm going to play an RPG like D&D, for example, I'm going to play that, and if I'm going to play Warhammer, I'm going to play Warhammer, and I'm quite happy. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a narrative storyline Warhammer. Necromunda was always the best for that.
Yeah.
Like
well, I kind of felt Inquisitor was kind of sort of like Necromunda, just more, well, at the time
everything was done on D100s as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
was it D100s or D66? So yeah, it was a weird game, fun but really weird. And also it was a nice gateway into actually having Inquisitors be useful in 40k as well, because Inquisitors are great in the books, but they don't do a great deal in the actual game.
They don't really translate well to like battles, do they?
No.
Although I've got to say, an Inquisitor and his hangers-on would make a cracking kill team.
I think it's got to be coming. I think that's got to happen at some point. But I think you're going to get like an Agents of the Imperium army at some point, which is just like the Navy breaches and the Arbites. Sorry,
they nearly did that when they brought out Black Box, Grey Knights.
Yeah,
because Grey Knights featured originally were part of the Demon Hunters,
which makes sense.
Codex, which makes sense, and you could have Inquisitors there, and so you would often have an Inquisitor with an Arbiter kind of guard.
You mean an Arbiter?
An Arbiter. That sounds so wrong.
I thought it was Arbiter, but anyway.
Well, there are
But then
BTs, aren't
I've
there?
been calling him Sanguinus all this time, and it turns
Have
out
you?
that's
Fuck
wrong.
off. No, it's Sanguinius.
Yeah,
you
I know that
right?
is just literally me not reading it properly.
But I mean, this is why Kill Team is very appealing. It's because over the years, Dan has gone, "Oh, we should do this again." Well, Dan and John, who's not here, no one knows. Which anyway, doesn't matter. And great podcast material. And so I got a Grey Knight army and did some of that, and then we said, "Oh, let's do it again." And they brought out Harlequins. And I really like the Harlequin models.
Have you still got your Harlequins?
I've still got my Harlequins. I've still got
Play
my
some
Grey
fucking
Knights.
Kill Team, dude.
Yeah,
Let's
I
do
know.
it.
No, I've
Yeah.
looked it up. The troopers, my Grey Knights are still reasonably look like Grey Knights, and they are still suitable models for it.
The Harlequins,
so-
those Eldar ones,
Yeah.
or
but they
Eldari,
split.
whatever they're called these
They
days.
split them off so that
They are Eldar, but they're not like Craftworld Eldar, are they?
They're
no,
fucking awesome. So the story behind Harlequins is that they
worship the laughing
They-
god.
yeah, and no one really knows a great deal about them. All they know is they worship the laughing god. They think that everything is funny, including like what. There's nothing more hilarious than gutting someone with their like monofilament guns that they've got attached to their wrists and stuff. And they have to protect the Black Library, which no one knows anything about either.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're super mysterious and they're really fucking cool.
And they're the ones that help bring Gilliman back, aren't they? Or is that someone else?
Was it the Harlequins? Like that's 8th edition. I missed
I'm not
most of
totally
that.
sure. I
Yeah.
thought it might have actually been what we would call the Dark Elder, because
Nah, they fuck shit.
No,
up.
it's not them.
Yeah.
It's not them.
well, they're
They're
the ones that
fucking
were they
evil.
were trapped in the warp, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were jumping
they live
at the
there,
time
don't
of
they?
Slaanesh.
That's where they're.
So when the
houses.
Eldar fucked Slaanesh into existence, which is how I choose to read that.
I mean, it's not inaccurate, is it?
They had like the Saturday night
Yeah.
of all Saturday nights.
yeah. Went on a bender, did a few lines, did some cat, and then fucked Slaanesh into existence. The Dark
Yeah,
Eldar, or Drakari as they're called, because Dark Eldar's hard to copyright. The Drakari were kind of caught in the webway, and as a result, Slaanesh couldn't get the hands on the Drakari basically fully. So they kind of exist, and to stop Slaanesh from taking control of them, or something along these lines, or taking their soul, they have to do more and more fucked up things, like continually.
Yeah.
So as a result, they have to capture people and torture them and continually torture them and say, see, look how fucked up we are. And it is beyond fucked up because they have to, enjoy it as well. So as a result, you've got these fucking Drakari who run around just enjoying torturing and killing people. And they are... I didn't realise this until... I'll get onto another thing that's changed since I last played Warhammer. But I didn't realise quite how fucked up they were. They're fucked up. They're really fucked up. Like even by like chaos standards, they really
Well,
are.
so
like,
we've got about like they sort of act in a way that you may just throw your lot in with Slaanesh,
yeah,
because that's what they're all about.
yeah. Because Slaanesh has to basically go, nice. I like what you did there. That was really good. I wouldn't have even thought of using him as a hat, but well done.
I know they used to be. I remember the Dark Elder being basically users of chaos anyway, like the equivalent of Chaos Space Marines.
They're so close to being chaos that they are essentially they're somehow worse. But yeah, Slaanesh has a lot to answer for because Slaanesh is kind of responsible for a lot of my favourite like factions in 40k, mostly the Emperor's Children, who are fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that's changed is that just lore, 40k lore is just readily available now everywhere. Like you go to YouTube and type in 40k and you'll learn something, and you'll learn something probably quite interesting. There's a few dickheads on YouTube, but like you can probably skirt around them.
They're quite they're quite over. So like there are a few people who just steer clear of, but they're kind of they tend not like if you go deep into like message boards and things like that, it's there's more people that you probably wouldn't really want to be listening to. But on mainstream stuff like YouTube, then they don't really have that much of a presence.
So I think the other side of it is because of that, we've got more people that are actually, because the laws got a lot more rigid and available. I think we are at a point where a lot of people play it just to have fun, and it's Saturday. Me and Dan here and Jack, who listens to the pod as well. Hello, Jack, if you're listening. Went to a place called Tabletop Republic in High Wycombe. Really, really good, really cool. And they had numerous tables set up. And while we were playing our little game of Kill Team, they were having a 40k tournament. And the one thing I noticed was, at the start of each game, they kind of look at each other and go, right, so I'm going to tell you everything that everyone on my army does, so there's no surprises. Basically, okay, so this tank's armed with this, just so you know that. This person's got this. And it's like, I don't know, it's like there's something quite nice about that. Like, just saying, you know what? I want to win, but also I'm happy here to have fun with my incredibly well-painted army and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. I was always shit at the painting. Still am.
Still am. Me too. Like, if anything, I've got worse, is what I've realised.
Well, so this is another thing that's kind of pulling me back into it. So I always enjoyed painting, but wasn't very good at it. But looking back, that's because I never bothered to like thin paints or anything like that. Yes. Yeah, so the Tau army that I did was the first thing that I was actually properly pleased with, and mainly that was because I bothered to do some stuff like thinning paints, mixing colours, so instead of just going with what's in the pots, not just globbing it straight out of the pot onto your model and going, oh, but the paint's ended up half a centimetre thick. And also, you don't have to bother painting faces with the Tau because they've all got masks on, pretty much. So
have you seen the new Farsight model? Russ?
No.
It looks really good. It looks really cool.
Dangerous to look at these things.
Yeah. Yes, it is,
But yeah, so I did always really enjoy the painting. I think so. The last things I painted was I had the Fellowship from the Lord of the Rings game, and I was really chuffed with how I painted all those up. And I've got no idea where they are now. I think they might be in my parents' loft.
Probably.
I have to go looking for them one day. But I've got no. Yeah,
probably flog
them. They were quite nicely done, but even when that was around, there wasn't very much in the way of ways to learn this stuff apart from go and hang out at a Games Workshop all weekend. Whereas now there is so much stuff on YouTube and other things that's actually useful, and there's things like contrast paint and speed paint and just simple things that it just seems to be not easier than it used to be. It's obviously exactly the same, but the kind of the tools that you need to do it well are much more accessible than they used to be.
Also,
so I'm quite looking forward to getting back into painting.
There's people telling you what you need as well. Like
the internet definitely improved my painting. Like
100%.
When I got my Grey Knights, I looked up how to do Grey Knights, which was education. I was like, oh, it must be this. And obviously, I kind of had stayed away from washes because I usually fucked it up. But the blue wash.
Can I guess? Blue wash on the Grey Knights.
Blue wash on the Grey Knights.
Yes.
Oh my god. Always.
Because you don't think about it, but Grey Knights are actually kind of bluey.
Yeah, it's how you get the silver effect. Is the blue. It's and because I just remember at the time, like looking through some manuals or a guy called Callum Latham actually we were at school with. He's a fantastic artist, but
shout out to Callum.
Callum doesn't listen either. I do really well at this. Shout outs to people no one knows. But you know, I remember when I was really proud when I got dry brushing to get the highlights. I was like, yeah, this is my pinnacle. And then learning how to do proper washes and stuff, and like, yeah, do this with a thin paint, and as you say, some blending or like some nice tips. That's exactly what the internet has done. It's fantastically improved painting.
Well, it's only got more available. That's the thing as well. And some of the paint, you watch some of the paint YouTube videos, and they are incredibly relaxing as well. That's the other thing as well. Watching other, so like the other thing I noticed is that
you watch Henry Cavill just in a vest doing this, don't you?
No, that's not relaxing. That's the heart racing.
Yeah, that's not to relax.
God, what's his name? Duncan Rhodes is one of them, I think.
Yeah, I've
Just
seen a lot of his stuff.
Really soothing voice, and just like doesn't speak to you like you're a fucking idiot, for starters, and just really nice to watch someone paint.
Yeah, I really like it. And there's another guy. Do you ever watch it? A guy called Jay, who has a channel called Eons of Battle. He's really good.
So.
And I think one of the things that's most valuable from that is that they show you all these different styles of doing things. Like the way Games Workshop paints their models is a really specific style that's incredibly difficult to do and doesn't always look the best because
it looks consistent.
They do it for a particular reason because they want to be able to take the model they've got coming out tomorrow and one that they did 17 years ago and put them next to each other and they'll look consistent.
Yeah.
And the way they paint it cranks everything up to 11 on their model. So every tiny little detail is picked out and highlighted and washed and shaded and perfectly presented. But you can get something that looks really, really effective far more quickly and more simply than would be required to paint things the way that the Games Workshop Studio does.
Yeah.
Which
Dan says he
sounds
really
obvious, but back when you bought things in the store and all you had was the little box that came with them, that was sort of what was presented as being the right way of doing it, and there wasn't really any way of seeing anything else.
Well, that's it. I'll get into some other thoughts in a second. But Dan says, I really rate Aeons of Battle. He's the one that did the female Space Marine kit bash.
I've seen that one. They look really cool. And also, just I think one of the things he said was like, don't get drawn into arguing about this. There's no rules of what you want to do with your minis.
Yeah.
So, stop stressing about it. If you want to do it, do it.
My Imperial Guard always end up as the army from the sci-fi show that I'm watching at any time. 100%.
So that's exactly what they're meant to be, isn't it? They're the Starship Troopers, they're the Colonial Marines, they're whatever.
So I've repainted them a couple of times. So I've had them with the purple uniforms. So the Cadians look like the purple bellies from Firefly. Then I went for like a grey look, and I've just done my Cassicans black and red, like the Martian troops in The Expanse. So like it is genuinely just whatever sci-fi show I'm watching at any one time. Basically, the Cassicans look so much like the Martians, like with the way that the helmets are like constructed. They look like they're wearing spacesuits. So I thought it would be really cool to just do that. But the other side of it is that on top of like painting. One of the things I always used to love, I used to get White Dwarf every month or every couple of months. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's every month.
Every month. And the first thing I'd go to is the battle report. Like I used to love like reading the battle reports with the little diagrams with this unit moved up here and this unit moved here, and then there'd be like a big explosion on there going, oh my god, what happened there? And then you'd read through it. Fucking loved that shit. And like if you go on YouTube and type in Warhammer 40k battle report, you will get a page of about 4 million battle reports you can watch. Some of them good, some of them shit, but still all people just playing Warhammer 40k with ridiculously good streaming setups is what I've noticed.
Some of those are incredible, and they'll have like some of them they'll have like built-in sort of CGI and effects and things, so tanks will properly explode and that kind of stuff. It's quite crazy.
So to get into what got me back into 40k, because I'm now at a point where I'm back into 40k. It's not Kill Team. I'm back, baby. People are asking me if I'm back, and I'm beginning to think I'm back. Essentially, Raoul Collie, actor, he was in House Haunting of Bly Manor or whatever it's called. But he's been in loads of stuff, and he is famously just a massive nerd, a massive 40k nerd. Like wore a Ultramarines t-shirt to a premiere, like a movie premiere or something as well. And I was just like scrolling through Twitter, and he put up this. He says, my guy Luton, Luton09, I think is on Twitter on YouTube. Sorry. Because he does these one of my favorite Warhammer 40k YouTubers who's just done this thing on the deathcore of Krieg. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a watch.
Sounds interesting.
It's an hour and a half. Okay, I'm probably not going to watch it. I'll watch the first 5 minutes. Watch the whole fucking thing. And the deathcore of Krieg turned out to be incredibly interesting. So I was like, okay. So I know if I buy the Kill Team starter set, I get a deathcore Kill Team. Which, by the way, I still haven't glued together. Because I've got, no joke, 200 Cadian models that I can just use as like an Imperial Guard Kill Team anyway. So I was just like, okay, cool, that's fun. So I started looking things up. And these 3 videos that came up that really got me back into it were, God, I'm going to find them very quickly. Because I think it's kind of like, if I type in this, hang on. Sorry, guys, this is boring. Every 40k faction explained, part 1 and part 2, immediately followed by every Space Marine Legion in a nutshell, by someone called Bricky.
Mm-hmm.
He does is on a channel called Dice Check as well.
I think I've seen some of his stuff. Yeah,
he did. The thing is, like, I liked about it was super relaxed, not massively nerdy, and I can go nerdy, but what I liked was he was just kind of talking about 40k, just like in a way that was accessible to a lot of people, and I think people would find it interesting because the 40k universe is genuinely fascinating as well. So I watched all 3 of these videos back to back, and at that point it was just like, I'm 100% back in now. Like, this is it. Watched him do in some battle reports, and watched him. I was like, these guys are just having fun playing the game. Like, there's no like animosity there. Someone fucks up, and he goes, "Oh, just do it. It's fine. It's okay." Like, someone, "Oh, I forgot. I needed to do this." No, just do it. It's fine. And that kind of reeled me back in. Like, you mean you don't have to be just on edge the whole time you're playing this game? You can actually just sit there and have fun with your friends. Yeah. So as a result, me, Dan, and Jack have been playing Kill Team a ton, and slowly but surely we'll be building boarding actions armies. We'll get into that in a second if you like.
He says,
yes.
swilling his decanter of brandy or whatever it is.
Oh yes, it's Coke and rum. But yeah, and as a result, I've probably been talking about 40k a lot, which has probably led to why Russ and I think Duncan and why we've been talking about it a lot. So,
I mean, I might have
it's
also...
not unrelated. So it was something I think I wanted to get back into painting stuff because I started watching some YouTube things. I've got like 3D. I've got Hero Forge minis of my D&D characters.
Yeah.
That were unpainted. I was like, I should really get these guys painted up, and I really want to get back into it. So I was going. I was planning to get back into some painting at some point anyway. I think this is just giving it a bit more extras around the edge as well.
Well, I mean, I always...
Well, if you guys are doing it, you guys are cool. I want to be cool too.
Well, it's like going into... Obviously having 2 young children, going to toy shops, and what's very apparent recently is that Warhammer and 40k is far more popular and it's far more visible.
It's massive.
It is. And it's more that they just bring out toys. Like, full-blown, big, either unpainted
the McFarlane
or painted.
Toys.
Yeah. The big, either unpainted or painted models of, like, Tyranids and Space Marines. But also you get the sticker... the action play card books you can get. And the
There's all sorts
adverts
of
for it
things
on...
you get,
Yeah.
You get, like, plushies
But,
and...
So the other day, and I mentioned this in the chat, we went into a toy shop looking for birthday presents. Yeah, those things. I love it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you, Jack.
So we went into a toy shop, and it's got this big, there's multiple different kind of battle tabletop RPGs, but obviously dominated by Warhammer. And I'm like, I always look at the boxes if I get a chance to look at something. I'm just have a look, what's happening here. Well, you have a look at a box, just have a look at what the artwork is doing. And I've always been dipping occasionally back into having a look at what the Games Workshop website is showing, because stuff. But anyway, first time Philin points up, Eldest looks at a box with a space marine doing something and goes, "Oh, look at that! That looks cool." And I'm like, "Don't know anything about this. I don't know what you're talking about. This is really not
I
cool."
wouldn't know anything about that. I was too busy like
Shut-
kicking ass and smashing chicks.
Yeah,
When people were doing
Chuck
that sort of
Phelan.
thing.
I was too busy out there, like being the hero
Bang.
quarterback.
Yeah, I was too busy playing rugby and sport and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not-
this whole thing should be prefaced with the fact that, you know what, we weren't the sports stars that we might have portrayed ourselves to be doing this. So yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know. It's not exactly taking much to twist my arm. It's like I would love to go down and play. I mean, I was doing aquaculture, and Dan was like, "Let's have a game," and so I went and got the Harlequins, so I could, because I loved what they were doing. You could get the rules quite easily online, I think.
so
Probably.
there's this website called Wahapedia, right? and I think because GW have lost a number of lawsuits from what I understand. So as a result, they are less full on with things like 3D printing minis and like rules like going up online. Less like they have been in the past. Less militant about it. But Wahapedia is based in Russia. So I do wonder whether like there's an element of we're not going after Wahapedia, just let it be.
Yeah, but there is that. I
Every
agree.
single rule is on there though for
Yeah, no,
every
it's
single
pretty-
faction.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cut and dried copyright infringement. Like,
Oh, 100%.
but there's not really much you can do about it if it's hosted on a Russian.
Well, I
server.
don't know, because I think some of the. I'm not totally sure, because some of the English is a bit off. It doesn't necessarily read the syntax, doesn't always read brilliantly. But because Dan has also shared different YouTube videos, and obviously they pop up on my YouTube stuff, might have occasionally watched bits of the Death Court of Krieg. Is a fascinating video.
Fucking
I then
unreal.
went on not the Wahapedia, but there is a lore wiki page
Yeah.
that sunk evening time of reading, going, "Oh my god, this is really fascinating." Because then obviously it was like, "Oh, I remember they were bringing out the Astartes Mechanicus. Let's have a look at that. Look at the lore of that." It's like, "Oh yeah, they're really
Mechanicus is
building this."
bonkers. Like
Crazy.
it
Yeah,
is,
that wasn't when we were playing 40k. That wasn't a faction. They were
No,
like,
they were like you
you'd
could get
heard of
servitors.
them.
they built
Yeah.
your guns.
They
Yeah.
they were the guys that made spaceships and stuff, but they weren't an army that you could field.
They at one point it was all they did was if you had one next to one of your cannons, it gave you like a boost on your accuracy or something.
That was a servitor. wasn't it?
That was
Yeah.
like servitors and tech marines.
Yeah.
They weren't admech.
Fucking don't look up servitors, by the way. That's pretty fucking dark. But like, because
Yeah.
you read the books and like, and then he pulled the combat servitor apart, and it's like, that was a person, just ripped a person apart.
Most of them are like vat grown, aren't they? But like,
No, they're people.
no, so
originally.
people.
you can be turned into a servitor, but most of
Yeah.
them are like cloned or grown in vats. But there's still like slight question mark. So what, does this person have like a soul? Probably. Turn them into a machine.
So I mean, 40k, I love the lore. So I'm currently, I'm listening to them because I kind of got a lot going on. So as a result, it's nice to have something in the background. And I'm about 7 books in, and I've started skipping some of the Horus Heresy books. But so I've done the first 5. Then I went straight to Legion, and now I've gone straight to Mechanicum because I'm kind of interested in the Adeptus Mechanicus stuff. And there's like rogue servitors that have like just gone crazy and just start eating people. And it's like, because they're just people that have been reprogrammed to do things. Like some of the lore is that it's criminals that have been reprogrammed to be basically like.
Yeah, have
bionic
you
people
not seen RoboCop 2? Don't do that.
Yes, very true. Yes, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so the Adeptus Mechanicus stuff is fucking fascinating as well. It's the thing is, the 40k lore is just incredible. Like, it's all dark as fuck. Like, everyone's a bad guy is the thing you need to get your head round.
Even
like,
the Tau.
Even the Tau are slightly less bad guys. Like the higher ups, maybe not, but like the people that are just kind of going out there doing their best, not so much.
I mean, considering some of the Imperial planets sort of go, when the Tau land, go, oh, well, we might throw our lot in with this lot. It's quite amusing.
It happens.
But,
There are humans in the Tau Empire. So yeah.
yeah.
But then it's dark until you get something like the Orcs, which is like,
That's fun.
sure, everyone's evil, but the Orcs are fun. So like
They are the comic relief which is
Yeah.
like, it's saying a lot that the comic relief in this world is an unstoppable horde of psychopathic killers.
yeah,
But it's only
But they have
when
fun
they
doing
have,
it.
It's
Yeah, they do.
only when they hit a big war.
yeah,
It's called.
yeah, yeah. That,
And
I
like,
love
yeah, I
every
like
time.
the way they've fleshed out their, like, they are just ineradicable.
yeah,
You will never get rid of them all, because
The Green
like, every
Tide.
time one dies, it turns into billions of spores that could then each
So-
turn into a new orc.
So the kill team Octarius backstory is amazing. So the idea is that an Inquisitor had this great idea of getting rid of Tyranids and Orcs by making them fight each other, so that they'd eventually wear each other down. But what happened was the Tyranids got bigger because they started just consuming biomass basically from all the Orcs they were killing. And the Orcs realised there was this great scrap happening here with the Tyranids. So more and more Orcs appeared. So the Tyranids got bigger and more Orcs appeared. So as a result, it became this massive problem rather than the solution to a problem. So now everyone's trying to stop this problem of like Tyranids fighting Orcs. Because Tyranids getting bigger, Orcs are getting, there's more of them. And it's just become like a huge problem. And that's like the Octarius storyline, is that you've got to go in and just, try and take out some of these Orcs or try and take out some of these Tyranids, because there is a huge issue happening here.
My sister used to love the Tyranid models because I do like the Gene Stealers were always terrifying, and also, obviously Space Hulk is still one of the best computer games ever. Bite me on this. I don't care.
To your left.
I will die on this hill because I will have an autocannon and I'm gonna fucking take you all down with me, bitches.
It was incredible. I think if you played it now, you'd be sorely disappointed.
Yeah.
It was terrifying.
It was scary. Yeah, it
It
proper
was terrifying. That was claustrophobia. There was no game. Even Doom
Also,
wasn't
like, you're like,
scary.
I'm a fucking. I've read about Terminators. I know about Terminators. These guys are nails. I'll be able to
Click,
deal
click,
with
click.
anything.
Power fist.
4
Come
seconds
on.
later,
Yeah.
just
You're
getting your
dead.
face clawed off.
Yeah.
And that was just Gene
So-
Stealers.
Do you guys? So I think something that's relatively new, or it just wasn't really part of the lore while we were playing. Do you guys know about Gene Stealer cults? Have you heard of
Yeah.
Yes,
they-
this is when they like
Fucking awesome.
transmit sort of psychic signals to sort of soften up a planet before they arrive.
it? So yeah, someone
It's-
has has contact with like a Gene Stealer at some point, and like I think it's like something transmits through the air to that person, where they then go back to their planet, and no one realizes they are like part Gene Stealer at that point, and as a result, they start spreading this idea, and it's not just like a biological idea; it's like a political idea as well, and then
They-
it spreads. Yeah,
When we were playing, they came out as something like Gene Stealer Magus.
yeah,
Because it was something that, because I was into Dark Angels, because gothic,
Edgy.
man. Edgy.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing under the rock. Don't look there.
Well, there is nothing under the rock.
There is nothing.
Have you heard the latest rumors?
What?
So it's almost certain that Lionel Johnson's coming back.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
that's
There's no. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, I'll just bring back one Primarch. No, there's gonna be like when did in our time when did Gilliman come back? It was good 10 years ago now, wasn't it?
It's
quite a
the
while
8th edition, so we're in 9th edition now. So it was just like it was fairly recently.
Then they bring him back and he was like, oh shit, everything's boggers.
So they brought him back, and
ago.
then
It was about 2015, wasn't it? Because it was
Yeah.
the same time as the Primaris Marines came out and everything.
yeah, because he was the person that sanctioned
So,
the
yeah, so
Primaris
5,
Marines.
6
So yeah,
Quite a while ago now. So they're probably like due for another one.
Well, it's 100% happening. Lionel Johnson's coming back, but it's so
No.
Lionel, yeah. No, his name's Lionel, which is hilarious. But
Lion the Johnson.
Lion, yeah, or just Lionel Johnson is yeah. So Gilliman came back and then took a look at the Imperium and went, "What the fuck have you done? Like, what do you mean you're worshipping him as a god? That's not what's supposed to happen." Everything's fucked, and apparently suffers from depression now because of like everything that had happened to like the Imperium since he's gone, basically. So now he's kind of like more in Will the Eldar and trying to like sort out stuff there. So yeah, so there's this thing called Arc of Omens happening at the moment, which is when you listen. There's a YouTube video I watched. It's called 40K Lore for Newcomers, the Warhammer 40K timeline. It is 3 hours 21 minutes.
Don't have time for that.
It's essential watching. It's fucking great. And it kind of goes into, there's a bit, like a whole chunk of it's going with, and Abaddon brought forward his 5th Black Legion, who were pushed back, and Abaddon brought back his 6th Black Legion. So now things have changed because Cadia fell. I don't know whether you guys know about this. I think that was 8th edition that happened.
Yeah.
Basically, Cadia stood against the Black Legion for like thousands and thousands of years, and it had stood this time until Abaddon or Abaddon crashed his Black Fortress into the planet, blowing up Cadia. And as a result, it's just much easier to get through now because Cadia is not on the doorstep of the Eye of Terror. So there's this thing called Arc of Omens at the moment, which is that Abaddon is trying to find something. He's teamed up with this demon called Vashtor, who is I assume he's a demon. I think he's like half. He's a mechanicus, kind of like a mechanical kind of demon, basically, called Vashtor, and he wants to become the 5th Chaos God. So he has come out of the war with Abaddon and Angry Ron, and they are trying to help him ascend to become the 5th Chaos God, whilst Abaddon carries forth his plans, which is just taking down the Imperium, basically. And where we're at the moment, from what I've read, is that they're winning. Is that the Imperium is currently kind of losing. Angron destroyed a planet just by being that angry that he blew up a planet. So the legion that was sent to kind of try and take him down was in the area. Spoilers if you're reading this, by the way. I don't know whether anyone actually is. That he kind of unleashed something that just sent this wave that turned this whole like fleet of new Primaris Marines and Sisters of Battle into like slathering like chaos followers, basically, because Angry Ron split a planet in two. So while that's been going on, Vashtor is turned up at the Rock, and from what I understand, how it's going to go is that he's going to make his way through the Rock, destroying Dark Angels until he gets to the point where he finds where Lionel Johnson's meant to be there, and he's not there because Lionel Johnson is actually still alive, apparently. So yeah, that's where lore is at the moment.
Oh yeah, but the other thing was that not just under the Rock that Lionel was kept in stasis. It was the betrayer, his second in command,
Luther.
Luther was meant to be kept under the Rock as well.
Yeah, it's
apparently there was never any chaos in Dark Angels. Shut the fuck up! What are you talking about, Dan? Wash your mouth.
That's one of my favourite things in that Bricky video. Going, so the Fallen don't exist, and if they did exist, we're going to make sure you know they don't exist by killing you, basically. So yeah.
So back to the Gene Stealers during a lot of Deathwing stuff, because it was Deathwing that did a lot of the cleanup. You did come across the Gene Stealer Magus stuff, and that is the human. I liked the human concept of the Gene Stealer cultists, and because I think we also had they were going to bring them in Necromunda at one point, or was it in?
Oh, you can definitely get them in Necromunda.
Yeah, you can. I mean, they're perfect for Necromunda because that's sort of where they would do this stuff anyway. Yeah,
it was a lot.
So it's like just as they sort of like launch their revolution, or whatever and topple the world's government. Just as that's getting dealt with, then a Tyranid hive fleet arrives and eats everybody.
Yeah, because that's the whole plan. It's like a parasite, isn't it? That's like, yeah. But so from what I understand, there's one of the books recently has just been about a gene stealer cult that was on Terra as well, that was only found out by a drug deal that went wrong, and so the custodians were running down there and just like killing all the gene stealers. But yeah, so like it's that's the other thing about the Tyranids, is that apparently Luther escaped the rock. He did escape the rock. Yes, nice one, Jack. Thank you. So yeah, so Luther's kind of gone wild again. Him and who's the other guy? The other fallen angel.
Oh, that mysterious guy that
Cypher.
Cypher, that's it, with the two pistols. Who's quite cool.
Yeah, he was quite cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thought is that Tyranids kind of surround the solar system, and so that everyone's fucked anyway. So it's too late.
But like you look at like any of the pretty much anything is definitely going to destroy the galaxy one day. So the Tyranids are going to eat everybody. The Orcs are going to just multiply to the point where they take over everything, and the Necrons are going to implacably march through everything, and Chaos is going to subsume the entirety of reality into the warp. Like there's all these different things that are definitely going to end the world, one way or the other.
It's just everyone's kind of clinging on for dear life, and faith is such a massive part of that, and it's kind of misguided faith in someone that didn't want to be worshipped as a god, and it's led to just complete xenophobia, complete just hatred of anyone that isn't them, and they've got, when people should have got better and started embracing other cultures, that it's just they've gone the complete reverse direction, which just isn't true to real life in any way, shape or form. So that's okay then.
Yeah.
I really do. I remember when Necrons came out. Again, it was a bit like, the Tyranids were...
Necrons are really cool now.
Yeah, when Necrons...
their lore has completely changed from the original, just like, they're the skeletons from Terminator. What else do you want?
Yeah, exactly.
And they've really brought more models out, and the fact that they're starting to intertwine human history and especially the Adeptus Mechanicus, going, maybe Mars has a Catan?
It's got the Mars is the Void Dragon, isn't it? That's
isn't the Void Dragon? I thought Void Dragons were associated with Necrons, or am I just?
Possibly. I don't know enough.
I think so. Like the Catan kind of made the Necrons, didn't they? Although they fought them or something. I haven't read much about the all the War in Heaven stuff, but they because they created the Orcs as well, didn't they?
Yeah. Dan says, the way I see the state of the 40k universe being able to hold together is Mr. Burns and Simpsons having every disease, but they all cancel each other out. That's 100%.
You can't all destroy the galaxy at the same time.
Yeah, because they're too busy destroying each other as well. So that's one. Yeah, it's the old ones created the Orcs and the Eldari, or the Quarks.
Well, they weren't the Orcs as they are now, are they? They were like smart.
Yeah.
But the 40k lore is weird because like a lot happens, but also nothing changes.
Yeah.
So like something like them doing like Cadia being destroyed and Abaddon the Baddon actually having a black fleet achieve something after 13 failed goes was really unusual.
Yeah. It looks like he's going to achieve something, but it's. But then the 8th edition finished with Chaos nearly achieving something, and then Gilliman coming back and pushing them back. So it's kind of a copy of that with Lionel Johnson.
And it does sound like 10th edition is going to launch fairly soon.
Yeah, they're looking at summer apparently. So yeah.
And is it this? Now we had a discussion about this before. Is it the 2nd and 11th that are the banished? Or is it 2nd and 19th?
I think
like
second and 11th.
the missing legions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ones that were
One of my
scrubbed
favourite-
prior
yeah.
to the Horus Heresy was
Yeah.
these are the two, and I love reading that. Going, well, it's mentioned in this book, and it's kind of they mentioned this book, but we know nothing.
One of
And
my
it's just
favourite
like-
things is how many loose threads they always leave to like potentially use in the future. So
Also, I
like,
imagine because a lot of this lore was originally made up after a long lunch in the pub by like 3 blokes. And so
Jazz
it's
says-
entirely possible that they just didn't.
Yeah.
They couldn't come up with 20 names for Primarchs and were like, oh fuck it, we'll just do 18.
So no, but I think that's partly the case, but also I think they're also like we can't wrap any of this shit up. You know that, right? So the Emperor's not dead, technically. I mean, he is, but he's not dead. Like 70% of Primarchs are still kind of alive or repairable in some way. shape,
They're
or
either
form.
demons or have wandered off.
Yeah,
Who's like? It's only Ferrus Manus and Sanguinius that are dead, isn't it?
Ferrus Manus' head got removed, so he's not coming back. And Sanguinius you can't bring back because, as I've said before, he is the Ben Parker of like the Warhammer 40k universe.
Yeah.
Like you can't bring Sanguinius back because he was the guy that everyone loved that died.
Everyone else is potentially on the table. None
Mm-hmm.
of the others died.
Anyone from Chaos, like they'll find a way of bringing Horus back if they need to. Like it's
Most of the
I
Chaos
get-
ones
so I
are
don't think
technically
they-
alive.
I don't think they will with Horus because he's like
No.
he's properly like he's not going to become a demon or anything. He was like obliterated
yeah,
by the Emperor. So I think he has to stay gone.
yeah.
But
And-
like
and-
there's also
And the
like,
only
there's-
other one is Night Lord's one. Even though I love the Night
Conrad
Lords.
Conrad
Korax.
Conrad, yeah,
Conrad
because
Kurz, yeah,
he was assassinated, and he was
Oh, is he
willing to
dead?
be assassinated.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah. The Nightbringer
yeah. Oh my god.
openly called himself the Nightbringer. Yeah,
Cheer up, mate.
The Night Lords though. So
they look fucking
meta.
cool. They're so evil. They're fuckers.
So arse.
Um,
Love them to bits.
like on the subject of chaos, like the Iron Warriors are the ones that stick out for me. Like
I like how
Perturabo-
there's just so much variety in like
Yeah.
you can go full like Death Guard, you know, I've
Yeah.
fused with my armor and I'm just full of maggots.
Yeah.
Right down to you can be sort of just like, oh, like I kind of dabble in chaos, but I don't take it
Yeah.
too seriously. Like there are people that just like they're just a bit piratey. They're not really. They're just scamps.
Or just murderers,
Yeah.
which is the Night Lords. Night Lords weren't. They kind of went chaos because there was no other option. But they were just
But, like,
murderers.
there
and,
are
like,
planets
You'll
where
find that's
people just
the case a lot of
live
the time.
and you know that's just they're just like we worship chaos in this family we don't we're not too
we're
orthodox but
chaos
we are followers of chaos, thank you. Like
None of
they
them
just get on with their lives.
undecided.
It's not that bad.
None of them really believe they're doing the wrong thing. Like that. So like Horus even didn't believe he was doing the wrong thing. He thought he was doing the right thing. Mortarion with the Death Guard had to side with Nurgle because basically his entire
He got
chaplain
kind of
was
tricked
going to
into
die.
it by
Yeah.
What's his name,
Typhus. Yeah, Typhus, the first captain, dickhead. Yeah. Even Fulgrim is not in control of his body in any way, shape, or form. Angry Ron, he had the whole thing about like the Emperor basically wiping out his entire planet, so you kind of get that as well. Fucking Magnus the Red was utterly shafted by the Emperor as well by trying. I get it. He was trying to get a signal off to say, "Hey, this is happening. You need to do something about it," and it destroyed the Emperor's Webway project or something along those lines. So I kind of get it. Like even like the Alpha Legion. I don't want to spoil that book, so you should definitely read Legion. It's really, really good. But like, they're more complicated than they've ever kind of like.
I love.
They're not strictly
Yeah.
speaking a traitor legion, are they? They're kind of just
Well, that's-
question mark.
That's one of the best things about the Dark Angels, Loyal Legion, kinda, and Alpha Legion, Traitor Legion, kinda.
Maybe.
So yeah.
I did read Alpha Omega, the Alpha Legion, and
the
that
the Dan Abnett one.
I don't think it was the
Yeah.
very first one where
Yeah.
they go. It really annoyed me because they didn't swear in it and they really wanted to.
The same Farg instead of
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
But I really liked the very ending where they just ripped apart the elite, meant to be elite Imperial Guard, and just went, yeah. But it was more the aliens,
Yeah,
the other
Cabal.
aliens, yeah, talking to
Yeah,
them,
this is
going,
this is the same one. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was a wee bit disappointed by that book.
Oh,
Just
really?
as some of it annoyed me. It was mainly the lack of swearing where they wanted to. It irked me, but I enjoyed it because of the fact that they were told you've got to side with Horus, otherwise the
Yeah,
universe ends.
yeah.
Horus has to win, or it all goes to shit.
Either
And I
you,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah. Either you deal with you have like a few hundred years of issues with chaos, or you're gonna have tens of thousands of years of like chaos. And so yeah, it's really really cool.
And how it all turned out was like, and the fact that they go and they believe they're doing the right thing, and
Yeah,
all of their motto is for the Emperor,
yeah,
or for the good of the Emperor, or something. And I love
yeah.
that.
The Emperor's Children. That's their motto as well. But they're just doing it because they're trolls. So I fucking love the Emperor's Children. Like the idea, yeah, they're falling to Slaanesh and just yeah, Fulgrim's is easily my favorite book so far. But it's yeah. So 40k lore, I think, is one of the things that fascinated me, and that's probably what drew me back into it. If we're
Yeah,
dragging it back
likewise,
what
to be
we were
honest.
talking
That and yeah, that sort of pulled me back in and getting wanting to get back into painting. And so
Yeah.
to be honest, it's a nice coincidence that there's a sort of new game format that is relatively doable
Hmm.
for people like us, and
So-
and that a bunch of you guys are into.
Let me tell you how this works, shall I? So, a kill team, right? Requires one squad. Okay, bit of scenery. Cool. So you play Into the Dark next. Okay, so Into the Dark is kill team, but with like walls, and you're like it's basically Space Hulk meets kill team. Okay, cool, that's fine. You only need 500 points to do boarding actions. That's boarding actions. Well, it's 40k with this Into the Dark scenery. Oh, that sounds fun, and you only have to have infantry. 500 points, that's easy to do. Like Space Marines, that's only 15 models. That's fine, I can do that. Cool. So you've got 500 points now. Probably going to want to get some tanks at some point, aren't you? You know, really flesh it out. Maybe a dreadnoughts, maybe that kind of thing. And before you know it, you're giving hand jobs for dreadnoughts. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Which is better than being given a hand job by a dreadnought.
it's true. Yeah, this is true.
Obliterated.
It's definitely a gateway thing, but it's a good job I've already got.
Oh my God, I'd hate to see a servitor with a flashlight on it.
Fucking, I haven't read it yet, but I'm 90% certain I will read a book where servitors are sex robots. Like, I'd be very surprised if that
I think
wasn't a thing.
you're delving into some of the fan fiction stuff there.
Or writing it. Who knows? Jack says, you heard it here first. Farsight killing Abaddon. I could see it. Have you guys been reading up on this as well?
I do think that Abaddon the Baddon might die, but then he's going to come back as a big scaly demon.
Yeah, that's what they tend to do, isn't it? They
Yeah.
bring them back as demons.
Because he has not yet had his demonic apotheosis, has he?
No.
He's still just a guy
Yeah. An
standing
evil
in the
guy
Eye of
with a
Terror,
big sword, yeah. Yeah.
holding a boombox above his head. So yeah, he could. You could kill him without losing Abaddon the Baddon.
Yeah. I think Vashtor might ascend to God as well. I think this is a good opportunity to get. Why not get a fifth Chaos God in there? Like this kind of
That would be a
kind of
big change.
yeah.
Big change, but maybe.
By the way, favorite Primarch because you asked. Chorus Korvax.
He is quite cool,
Korak,
isn't he?
yeah. The fucking emo like
Emo, yeah, with his
Primarch of the Raven
eyeliner
Guard.
and
Oh,
his
he's the Raven Guard.
playing
Yeah,
his
he's currently. Do you know what he's doing at the moment? He's currently just chilling in the warp, sulking. Like he's just there because he got sent on a mission into the warp, and apparently, from what I understand, he's just like
he's just
sitting
sitting in the
on
warp
just
playing My
sulking.
Chemical Romance records and and perfecting his eyeliner technique.
Yeah.
I love the Raven Guard.
He ain't gonna die. They just released a new model. That's true. The fifth god is the Horde of Rat.
Oh yeah, like
Heresy. This is
if
true. Yeah,
maybe in like 2 or 3 editions they'll kill Abaddon, or you know.
they didn't release a new model for Abaddon. That's still the same model. I think it's been out for a while now. I think it might be wrong. I don't know.
Abaddon
but,
with the big sword.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Sword that's the size of him.
the
I
sword's
remember.
huge, and his gauntlet is Horus's gauntlet as well, isn't it? So, which is just has a Stormbolter built in, because if you can build a gun into a hand, why not, eh? Which is,
That's not a new Abaddon model, is it?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure it's
The
not.
Azrael model's new though, which is fun. That'll get everyone out going and buying the Azrael model. He will command my army. Before Lionel Johnson comes out and go, he will command my army. So
I used
But
to
also,
love
like,
the
if
Azrael. you had the Azrael model.
you
didn't
presumably a Primarch is more than 20 points. Like, there's not
A
going to be many
Primarch-
games where you can use a Primarch.
oh, you can you can use Rabout Gilliman in boarding actions, 500-point army. He takes up to 350 of those points.
Yeah, it's like it's him and 2 other blokes.
Jack says only 2 years. Wait, no, 2019, 4 years. 2019 is 4 years ago now. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so you can use the Chaos boarding actions box comes with Abaddon plus 5 Marines plus 10 Chaos Cultists.
And Abaddon is effectively, like, he's Primarch level now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 350 points as well. Yeah, so you can definitely do it. So like, yeah, so
Nice.
I'd imagine they'll release a Dark Angels one that will have Lionel Johnson in it as well. So
Yeah.
Hello, was it me you're looking for?
the Tau boarding actions force is sexy, by the way. If you get a chance, it's worth having.
No, I looked at the Tau kill team, and I remember you saying that they had to sort of change it because it was a.
Because
were
they were
just a
winning
bit too-
tournaments, but if it's the level we're playing, it doesn't. actually
They're
matter.
one of the teams who were in like pre-Octarius kill team.
Yeah.
They were really broken because
Yeah.
you could basically have all of them with heavy weapons, and you could all of them could shoot everyone else at all times.
Yeah,
And through
and
walls,
it was a
wasn't
bit spammy.
yeah, they are much more down to earth. Don't get me wrong; they're still like
I do really like
Well, you've got
the
a-
way they've done the specialist kill team boxes. It's much more. So like each individual, like they are on a model by model basis, they are weaker than the
Yeah.
sort of the compendium teams where you just take some Space Marines or whatever. But you get so much more customization with all the unique actions and
Yeah.
equipments and things that you can give to all of them. So you probably need to play a bit more flexibly and a bit more cleverly, but they do seem to be quite nicely balanced.
Do like what are they I can't remember but someone called them the space pirates. Basically,
they're the ones Russ has just ordered. I think the Lucidian,
the Rogue
Star.
Traders, the
Yeah.
Elucidian Star Striders. Yeah, so that's the team. I mean, long answer short, Dan has convinced us to play Kill Team. So that's happening.
and he convinced me mainly because I was like, oh, I don't have to spend any money. That's great.
Not
Yeah.
yet. I told myself that as well. I'll just buy the starter pack. That's all I need. Got everything in it.
It was
That's it.
more that, oh, you don't need that many miniatures. I can sort of sneak that down with me and go, yeah, I'm going to go and see Dan.
I mean, if
I'll
you
go
really
see
don't
my
want to take
parents.
many miniatures, if you get the Talons of the Emperor, you get like 5 of them, don't you? If you go
So
all Custodes.
They are apparently killing it at tournaments where you take Talons of the Emperor, you take 2 Custodians, and you take
You can
5
get
Sisters of
of
Silence,
Silence as well, can't you? Yeah.
who are fucking awesome as well, by the way.
Mm.
But that's yeah.
Yeah. I do like- What?
Just ask other Dan.
just to wrap up.
Yeah.
What kill teams are you hoping to see? Like a proper dedicated kill team box for?
Cassicans was the one I really wanted.
Yeah.
Like, and it kind of ties in with the fact that I wanted Cassicans for Imperial Guard anyway. But
So I mentioned like an Inquisitor and their
Oh,
what do
Inquisitor
they call it, a
would be cool.
retinue or something.
yeah,
So that would be pretty cool, and I think that would work
Like we-
really well for kill team.
we're getting an RBTs one. The other ones I thought was, they've done like a couple, a couple for Imperial Guard now. But I would really like, one of my favourite units of Imperial Guard of old was Schaefer's Last Chances.
Oh,
So, like-
you had an amazing squad of those.
Yeah.
They were a special hard ass unit. They
Yeah.
actually were worth quite a lot of points.
So-
Well, and you could do the
So
Tanith
I-
first and only as well as a kill team.
Yeah. So I would
but they've,
like.
they've probably got too many guard teams already.
Yeah, that's the problem. I would like a Penal Legion. Unit.
Yeah, that would be
quite
cool.
cool.
Wouldn't like a Suicide Squad type thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, that
so
would be
like the
really
Schaefer's Last
good.
Chances.
oh well,
That's
no,
the one.
because it was. I mean, they've got the. Okay, in Necromunda, they were basically the posh kids, but they had all the special kit. And
the
then
Oh,
Spires.
the Spirus. The Spirus, yeah.
Yeah,
Something
but they were like
Gapiar.
they were specific to
Necromunda.
Necromunda.
like not even like they were specific to it was called Hive Primus, I think. The one you're in. They were in that city. They're not like a
They would
a
go
thing that
down and
happens
hunt.
everywhere.
They'd go down and hunt people, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
because that
like
was
just
that
for
was their
fun.
hobby. Yeah,
Because they were basically just rich pricks on Gap Year.
yeah,
Yeah.
Gapiar.
But
Yeah,
that would also be kind of fun. The only other one was because there is what are they called? Astartes, what is it? The assassination lot.
The
Hmm.
assassins.
Because I don't. Yeah, the assassins, but some of those models originally.
Officio Assassinorum.
Yeah,
That's it,
probably
Fisio
be a
Assassin.
bit. Like I'm sure they'd be really good, but like a team of 10 of them would obliterate anything else in
No,
Kill
but
Team.
that's the thing that like with Grey Knights you only need 5, 6,
6.
Yeah.
6, and so you could do it that it would be similar. And I mean the other thing is.
Or you might have like a bit like they have. Like you can take like Space Marine scouts and things like that. So you might have like trainee assassins who aren't quite as insanely lethal.
I mean, I would quite like to see a proper Harlequin kill team because at the moment it's just a
There
troop.
is one, isn't there?
Yeah.
No, it's just a
yeah.
troop.
So anything in like the Harlequins one's okay because that's in the annual. Anything that's in the compendium hasn't really had anything. And the one thing that jumps out is that Grey Knights haven't had like a bespoke kill team yet. So
Also,
like,
Yeah, that would be nice.
Leagues of Voltan as well, which
I
are
think
coming
they've-
out with
have they not
some
got a kill
really
team yet?
nice models.
yeah.
And so they're crying out for a kill team. Have you seen the transporter thing for them? Like their ATV vehicle is brilliant.
Yeah,
It looks
it's
like
really
something
cool.
out of Akira. It's
Yeah.
awesome. It doesn't
Oh, the
look like a
Voltan.
40k thing at all.
No.
I haven't looked at the Voltan. Was it? They're called.
League of
Leagues of
Votan.
Voltan. They're
Oh,
the Space
Voltan.
Dwarves.
The
They're the
squats.
squats.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the squads.
Yeah.
But they don't look anything like they used to. They're not the crazy 70s bikers that they used to be.
That's what I was thinking of. I was like, wow, who were the space dwarfs? Yeah, the Voltan would be awesome to have as a kill team. Agree.
Also, the
'cause
one thing
were
they
going
haven't
to-
come out with yet is a train for them, which I used to love that thing. The squat land train that you could take.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I think so. Penal Legion would be my choice. Also, there's tons of like chaos ones you could do that would be quite fun as well. Like you've got Death Guard, you've got Zinch. I'd imagine a World Eaters one's probably on its way.
Yeah. So I mean, you can do all the demons, but you could do like Chaos Pirates or something. Be quite good.
Yeah, Emperor's Children. There's the Blooded, which is the Chaos Imperial Guard, isn't there? So you got
Yeah.
them as well. And Sisters have got novitiates, but you've not got like a bespoke Sister squad yet. Maybe that you could do more with the Mechanicum. They've barely touched on the Drakari, but they've just released one of
They're
those.
in
One-
the new doubles box, aren't they? With the
Yeah.
with the Judge
the
Dreds.
Arbites. Yeah. Yeah. Did you know that the Arbites were released because at the time Games Workshop owned the rights to Judge Dredd? That's why
Really?
they were originally released. Yeah.
Oh wow!
They were designed to look
Because
like
they literally
Judge Dredd.
are Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a nice little squad. Go around
Yeah.
with a Inquisitor.
That kill team does look really good. You can't get them on their own at the moment, but you will be able to.
No,
at some
that's going to be a
point.
few months yet. So yeah.
Yeah.
The breaches look quite cool as well. Like stuff
they're-
like that's quite fun.
They're the ones with the shields.
Yeah.
Or am I
the
thinking of
breaches
the other
are, yeah.
ones?
Do you mean like
Yeah.
the void ship ones, the Imperial breaches, the Navy
Yeah.
breaches? Yeah,
Yeah.
all
The
like
Navy
shotguns
breaches, yeah.
and
Yeah.
sort of antique diving bell spacesuits.
Yeah. So I think a bespoke Grey Knights team is probably on its way. Like, I think you could really go into the weeds with individual Marines ones as well. Like,
You could,
you've already got intercessors, and you've got Phobos, and you've got the Space Marines as well. But you could really go like, here's what a Dark Angels one would do, or a Blood Angels one, or something like that. So, or even like give people the opportunity. So the rumor is that the next one's Beast Men, which I quite like as well. Like a Beast Men kill team. So
there's not a Tyranid one either, is there?
There is in the compendium. You got Tyranid warriors, yeah.
But you could do like
there's Gene Stealer cult one as
what
well.
are they called? There's those Tyranids. I don't know if they still have them. They had them when I had them. Who are like they're like the Tyranid special forces that go invisible and go behind enemy lines and stuff.
Lictors.
Lictors, that's the ones. Yeah. They would be quite good.
Yeah, that'd be quite cool.
I mean, the Tyranids are crying out for a spaceship orientated kill team, because why not just
You
go
just be
back?
doing Space Hulk again.
Yeah.
Well, there's no Terminators in Kill Team, are they? Because they're too good.
So, yeah, I read somewhere that they're planning on revamping all the Tyranid models because they haven't been done since 2001.
Tyranids and Eldar.
Yeah.
Or Eldari. Apologies.
Yeah.
They're great. All the models are quite old now.
I thought Eldari did have a kill team.
They do,
do?
but they're not like. So loads of them have got kill
pirates.
teams where it's just you can take a bunch of guys,
Yeah.
but they don't have a kill team where it's 10 individual models, each with their own like skills and equipment and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning about the Harlequins, was because it's just usually a troop. It's just a box.
Yeah, all the Eldar models are. They're all really old, aren't they? They haven't had there's not been a new Eldar thing for ages.
No. You got the Void, whatever they're called, the pirate ones, which I thought were Drakari, but they're not. They're just pirate Eldar, basically. So yeah. Lots of fun things
spiky,
to do.
not too spiky.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should probably wrap this up.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, as we now know that in the grim dark future there is only war and lots of dice. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for listening. If do check us out on all our socials at TMTOH on Instagram. I don't know why I led with that, but Twitter, Facebook, and please do check on our join our Discord group. It's great. There's lots of different chat about moaning about how meh Mandalorian season 3 is, and generally other stupid inane shit about Marvel and stuff. Dan, is there any other Marvel happening?
Nothing marveling Marvel. The podcasts are going up tonight. I've decided I'm going to do them after I've done this one, so they'll be up for tomorrow morning. So yeah,
Sweet.
Wonderful. So without much further ado, good night, goodbye, night, Russ.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with some quote about the Emperor, but I can't remember anything.
His mind's been infected. Good night, Dan.
did you know that on Cadia the planet broke before the troops did?
And on that solemn note, Russ, cue the music.